My name is Mariam. I am 39 years old and a Muslim woman devoted to my religion and my family. Islam is at the center of my life. It shapes who I am and how I live every day. From the moment I wake up, my prayers guide me, filling me with gratitude and faith in Allah. They are not just rituals, they are my lifeline, giving me strength to face every challenge the day brings. However, life is not always easy. It has challenges, just like everyone else faces, but my faith keeps me grounded. When I feel overwhelmed, I turn to the Quran for guidance. It is like finding light in the midst of darkness. My belief in Allah's mercy and wisdom gives me the courage to move forward, to remain hopeful, and to be patient. It was an ordinary day, or so I thought. I remember waking up like any other morning, completely unaware of how everything was about to change. I went about my daily routine, praying, spending time with my family, and doing chores. Nothing felt unusual. But then, out of nowhere, it happened. I felt this overwhelming sense of stillness, almost as if time had stopped. My body became heavy, and I couldn't move. Fear crept in. But before I could even process what was happening, everything went dark. The next thing I knew, I wasn't in my body anymore. It's hard to put into words, but it felt like I was floating, weightless, as though I was being carried somewhere. There was no pain, just an unfamiliar calm that I couldn't explain. I remember seeing a soft, warm light in the distance. It wasn't blinding, it was inviting, like it was calling me closer. As I moved toward the light, a rush of emotions swept over me. I felt peace, but also a sense of awe. I knew I was crossing over to a place that wasn't part of this world. It didn't feel scary, though. It was beautiful and mysterious, unlike anything I'd ever experienced. At the same time, there was a deep sadness in me, a longing for my family, for my children. I wasn't ready to leave them behind, but in that moment, everything felt connected. It was like I could sense the greater plan, even if I didn't fully understand it. It's still hard to describe, even now. It wasn't just a physical experience, it was something deeper, something spiritual. What happened next is what changed everything. I never imagined anything like this would happen. There I was, in a place I didn't understand, far from everything familiar. The light that had been guiding me became even brighter, and I started to sense someone's presence. It wasn't just any presence, it was warm, comforting, and filled with an unimaginable love. I can't describe it fully, but it felt like the whole world had stopped, and there was nothing but this overwhelming sense of peace. And then I saw him. It was Jesus. He wasn't like how I'd always imagined from stories or what I had been taught. He was radiant, glowing with a light that wasn't harsh, but soft and gentle. There was no fear, no judgment in his eyes, only love. He looked at me with kindness, and it felt like he saw all of me. Not just my face, but my heart. I don't know how to explain it, but in that moment, I felt completely understood. It was like I was seen for who I truly was, beyond everything else. I had always believed in Jesus, of course, as a prophet, but meeting him like this, it was different. It wasn't about religion in that moment. It was about his essence, his presence. He radiated compassion, and I felt it wash over me like a healing balm. All the doubts and confusion I had been carrying in my heart seemed to fade away in his presence. I could feel his wisdom in every word he spoke, though he didn't say much at first. It wasn't needed. His gaze alone was enough to open my heart. I was overwhelmed, trying to reconcile the profound connection with what I knew as a Muslim. Growing up, I had always been taught to honor and love Jesus as one of the greatest prophets. But this was so much more than I could have ever imagined. I didn't know what to say or how to feel. There I was, a devoted Muslim woman, standing face to face with the very figure I had read about, but now he was alive in front of me. What did this mean? What was I supposed to do with this? But as I stood there, feeling every ounce of his love and care, I realized it didn't matter. What mattered was the message he carried and the undeniable truth that I felt deep inside. Jesus was a symbol of love, pure, unbreakable love, and he was offering that love to me in a way that transcended all human understanding. He spoke then, and his voice was soft, full of wisdom and peace. He didn't need to explain himself because I already knew. His presence said everything. He told me that love is the core of all faith, that no matter where we come from, love is what binds us together. And that message, it hit me like a thunderbolt. I had spent so much of my life trying to understand faith in terms of rules and boundaries, but in that moment, Jesus made it clear that faith, true faith, was not about division. It was about love, compassion, and understanding. I felt like my heart was being opened in a way it never had been before. There was no judgment, no anger, no harshness, just a simple, profound truth that transcended all the labels I had placed on myself and on others. Leaving that moment was hard. The love he had given me was so strong, so overwhelming, and yet I knew I had to go back. But when I did, I carried that love with me. And in the days and weeks that followed, I couldn't stop thinking about what he had shown me. This encounter with Jesus wasn't just a fleeting experience. It changed everything. It opened my eyes in a way I couldn't have imagined, reminding me that love is the highest truth we all must seek, no matter our faith, background, or belief. When Jesus spoke to me, his words were simple yet so powerful. He didn't come with grand explanations or a complex theology. His message was one of love, unity, and forgiveness. But it wasn't just about the words he said. It was the way he said them, with a heart so full of compassion and understanding that I felt like the whole universe was wrapped in that love. The first thing he told me was that love is the foundation of everything. Not just love in the way we usually think about it, but a love that goes beyond boundaries, beyond religion, culture, and race. It's the kind of love that connects all of humanity, that transcends any labels we place on each other. He spoke of a love that isn't limited by human conditions, a love that is pure and unconditional. This love, he said, was the truest form of faith, and it was this love that he came to share with the world. Then he spoke about unity. He told me that despite all the divisions we see in the world, we are all part of one human family. You are all my brothers and sisters, he said. No matter where you come from, no matter your faith or background, you are all equal in the eyes of God. This was a profound truth for me to hear, especially as someone who had grown up with certain ideas about what separates people. Jesus was telling me that the divisions we create, whether through religion or culture or any other means, are human-made. They are not the will of God. The will of God, he made clear, is for us to come together in love and unity, to see each other as equals, and to embrace one another with open hearts. But what shook me the most was when he spoke about forgiveness. He told me that forgiveness is not just a gift we give to others, but a gift we give to ourselves. Holding on to anger, bitterness, and resentment only weighs us down, he said. To truly experience peace, we must learn to forgive, not just others, but ourselves as well. He didn't speak of forgiveness as something that was easy, but as something that brings healing. It was a lesson I knew I needed to learn deeply in my own life, but hearing it from him made it feel like the most important thing I could ever do. The message he gave me wasn't just about personal salvation or individual faith. It was about the whole world, about all of us. It was about creating a world where love and forgiveness reign, where we see each other as equals, regardless of our differences. It was about realizing that the teachings of all the prophets, Jesus, Muhammad, Moses, and others, are ultimately pointing us toward the same thing: to love one another and to live in peace. As I listened to Jesus, I realized that his message was not just for Christians. It wasn't just for Muslims or Jews or anyone else. It was for all of us. His words spoke to the core of what it means to be human, to love and forgive, to seek peace in a world that so often feels divided. That was the profound message he gave me. It was a message of hope, of healing, of love that binds us all together. And in that moment, I understood that the path to peace doesn't lie in our differences, but in our shared humanity, in the love that we are all capable of giving. I don't know how long I was gone. Time in that place didn't make sense. Everything felt both eternal and fleeting at the same time. But as much as I had felt at peace, a part of me still longed for something. A part of me was tied to my life, my family, my children. I felt that pull deep inside me, like an invisible thread that was connecting me back to the world I had left behind. And then, without warning, I was being pulled back. It wasn't sudden, but it wasn't slow either. There was no dramatic shift, just a feeling of being tugged, as though I was being called back to my body. The warmth of the light began to fade, and I felt the world around me shift. It was almost like waking up from a deep sleep, but not quite, more like being pulled from one reality into another. This experience changed the course of my life, and I now understand that I have a responsibility to carry forward the message I received. I didn't go through all of this just for myself. It wasn't just about me seeing Jesus or feeling the love and peace that came with it. It was about something much bigger, a message that needs to be shared with the world. The love I felt, the forgiveness I learned, the unity I discovered, it's something I believe everyone needs to hear. And so, moving forward, I've made it my mission to inspire love, peace, and understanding among people of all faiths. I want to remind others that no matter what beliefs we hold, we are all part of the same human family. It doesn't matter if you're Christian, Muslim, Jewish, or follow any other faith. What matters is the love you carry in your heart and how you share it with the world. In my own life, I try to live with that understanding every day. I show compassion, not just to my family and friends, but to everyone I meet, because we're all connected. And when I speak with others, I do so with an open heart, knowing that our differences don't have to divide us. We can celebrate our shared humanity and focus on what unites us rather than what separates us. I believe this message is important now more than ever. The world is full of division. There's so much anger, fear, and misunderstanding. But the way I see it, the only solution is love, true love, the kind that doesn't discriminate, the kind that forgives, the kind that sees the good in others. This is what will heal the world, and it starts with each one of us. If we all commit to living with an open heart and a spirit of love, I truly believe we can make a difference. To those who are listening to this, I encourage you to reflect on your own life. Take a moment to look within and ask yourself, what kind of energy do I put out into the world? Am I spreading love, or am I letting fear or anger take control? Life is short, and we are all given a limited time here. Let's make the most of it by choosing love. I've seen firsthand how transformative love can be. It doesn't matter who you are or where you come from. If you approach life with an open heart, you can touch others in ways you never imagined. This is my mission now, to carry the message of love, unity, and peace wherever I go and encourage others to do the same.